Hello students, welcome. This is Dr. Mercado speaking. We are going to continue covering Chapter 4, dealing with income tax withholding for Accounting 1329. This is Payroll and Business Tax Accounting. Okay. Now, this is an additional problem that I'm going to be covering because it can be a little bit confusing for students, and there is no Cengage video tied to this problem, so I just want to make sure I clarify it, and that way students don't have any difficulty solving it, okay? So the problem that I'm going to be dealing with is problem 4-7. I do want to remind all students to please read the chapter before you attempt any of your assignments, okay? There's a lot of examples provided. There's a lot of information included, things that are included, things that are not included. There's just so much information. I don't expect you to memorize it, but at least read it, and that way you know whenever you see a problem and, well, I remember or I recall that I read about this somewhere in the chapter, you can go back and try to find it, okay? Now, the problem that I'm going to cover is problem 4-7, and this problem reads, Julie White-Wheeler made $930 this week. Only Social Security is fully taxable, and federal income taxes are attached to her pay. White-Wheeler contributes $100 each week to her company's 401k plan and has $25 put into her health savings account, non-qualified each week. Her employer matches this $25 each week. Okay? We have to determine White-Wheeler's take-home pay if she is single, and we are going to use the wage bracket method to calculate the federal income tax. Okay? So, let's get started. There's a lot of information included in the problem, and then they give you some additional information that does not even pertain to her calculation of her gross pay. It's just to throw you off. Okay? So, let's start off with her gross pay. How much did this employee earn this week? This week, this employee earned $930. Okay? Now we have all of the deductions that are going on. Okay? Everything that's being taken away from her paycheck. Okay? So it says here that this employee has to pay Social Security on her wages. Everything is fully taxable. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do OASDI tax. Okay? And then that's going to be $930 times the rate of 6.2%. Okay? And then that's going to give us 930 times 6.2%, 57.66. Okay? Now, because it is a deduction, I'm going to put it in parentheses or in minus sign. Okay? Make sure that you are careful because a lot of the times this is something very simple and students keep on entering the numbers and they keep on counting it wrong just because you're missing that parentheses, okay? So these are deductions. I'm going to take away, okay? So it says only Social Security is fully taxable and federal income tax attached. So I know that I have to pay OASDI tax and I know I have to pay HI tax on my pay, okay? My H tax is 1.45%. And let's see what that gives us. That's going to give us 13.485 because that third digit is a 5. I'm going to round up, so that will be 1349. Okay? And the order that you calculate these deductions doesn't really matter as long as you have all of your deductions included. Okay? I'm just trying to go in order. It started with Social Security, so I'm going to do my OASDI and my HI. Now, the problem also says that the employee contributes $100 into their retirement account, their 401k. So I know that I need to deduct those $100 because those $100 are going to be put into the retirement account. So I've got my 401k deduction. That's $100 that we're going to take off for her 401k. It also says that this employee contributes $25 into her health savings account. Health savings account, okay, contribution, and she contributes $25, so we're going to take that out of her pay as well. Okay, now the last thing that we have is federal income tax. Now I left this for the end for the reason, okay, now this employee makes $930, okay, but this employee contributes $100 of her pay to her 401k. Okay. Now, if we go back to the book, I'm going to go back. If we go back to chapter 4 and you read section 4.1H, it deals with payments exempt from withholding. There is a table here that shows everything that we are going to deduct that is not taxable for federal income tax purposes, okay? So it has a big list. If you click the little plus sign, it opens up another window and it has a whole bunch of information, okay? Now down here, we have a section that says retirement and pension plans. It says that the employer contributions to a qualified retirement plan, employer contributions to IRAs, to sections 403 annuity contracts, so on and so forth. It also says here elective contributions containing qualified cash or deferred compensation arrangements such as 401ks. Okay, retirement and pension plans. Those are exempt from withholding. I am not going to withhold federal income taxes on those $100. So that means that for my federal income tax calculation, okay, I'm not going to calculate my federal income tax on the $930 that this employee earned. I'm going to calculate it on the $830. That is the $930 that they make minus the $100 contribution for the 401k. That means that when I go to my tax tables to calculate my federal income tax, I'm not going to look for $930. I'm going to look for $830. That is what is taxable for federal income tax purposes because your contribution to your retirement account is not taxable, okay? So this is where you have to understand what is taxable, what is non-taxable, okay? So that table there gives you everything that is taxable. There's a section that explains what is taxable and then another section that explains what is not taxable. That is why it's important to read, okay? So we figured that for federal income tax, we're going to be looking at $830. We look at the tables provided. We're going to locate the $830, okay? $830 to $840 threshold. Now this employee is single, right here, single. So we're going to be looking at the single column and we're going to do the standard withholding. And then that gives us $68 deduction for federal income tax, okay? So those are all of our deductions. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deductions. Yes, we do. Now we can calculate how much is this employee going to take home. What is the net pay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the $930 minus the $57.66 minus the $13.49 minus the $100 minus the $25 minus the $68. Okay. And then that gives us a take home of $665.85. Okay. That is how much the employee is going to be taking home. Okay. So you always start with your gross pay. You do your different calculations, deductions. For federal income tax, make sure that you review that table. Exempt payments. These payments are exempt from withholding for federal income tax purposes, okay? So make sure that you carefully read all of the different items that are exempt from federal income tax purposes, okay? And I'm not going to go through all of this because as you can see, the list is pretty intensive. You know, it's a lot of information and I don't want to bore you with all of this, but just make sure that it is there and that you do browse or read through it. That way you are familiar with the items that are exempt. Okay, so that is how you calculate this problem. Pretty straightforward. The only tricky part is that now what other students do is they also deduct the employer's match $25. This has nothing to do with the employee's deductions, okay? This is something that the employer is matching, okay? So you put $25, I put $25. So the employee is only going to get deducted her $25 portion that she is contributing into the held savings account, okay? So just don't let those $25 confuse you in any way. That's just a contribution by the employer, okay? So that is basically what's going to be going on for exercise 4-7. Please make sure that you schedule time during the week to complete your assignments. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Send me a Blackboard message, a Pronto message, an email, a text, whatever works for you. And I'll try to get back with you as soon as possible. And that is basically it. Have a wonderful week, and until next time, thank you.